Now, with only weeks left until the federal election in Germany, political parties are campaigning and calling for reforms they think will resonate with voters. Let's look at one proposed reform, which is tightening inheritance tax and reforming wealth tax. For more on how things are currently running, we've got DW's correspondent Wada Imran in Berlin joining us. Good evening to you, Wada. Let's start with the inheritance tax. Is Germany strict with that?
Thanks for having me. Much of Germany's billionaires inherited their wealth. Germany has a dynasty-style business sector and properties which are handed down generations. And they avoid paying much tax on it, and they're successful. On paper, the current inheritance law aims to tax 7 to 50% of the inheritance. However, rarely is it in practice. One way to avoid this is to put your wealth in a business or a family company. And so you can abscond this inheritance tax by saying the wealth is invested. Another way is to claim an exemption based on need. So let's say if you're to inherit 26 million euros and you don't have the money to pay the tax to collect this inheritance, then you can claim a need-based exemption. The argument is that you are needy for the money and can't afford the tax. So there are various loopholes that allow the ultra-rich to avoid paying inheritance tax. And sometimes what they do pay is very little, to the tune of 1 to 3%. So I would say it's definitely not strict enough.
All right, Wada. And then taxing the ultra-rich is a big challenge as well. Now, would a reform in the law bring a change in practice?
Well, it really depends on how keen the government is on collecting tax, like the wealth tax or this inheritance tax we're talking about. Speaking about a wealth tax, for 100 years, Germany had a wealth tax and it was successful. And then in 1997, it was suspended and kind of never picked back up again. According to German state media ZDF, Germans have around 18 trillion euros in private wealth. The SPD, which is current Chancellor Olaf Scholz's party, has said they want to reactivate this tax on wealth and tighten the inheritance tax so they can add billions to the government spending. Other major parties like the Greens or the BSW party also propose fixing the inheritance tax system and expect 3 billion euros annually. However, there are parties like the far-right AfD that want to slash annual inheritance tax revenues by billions. If such a policy is successful, the divide between the rich and the poor would significantly increase, which would have dire consequences for the German people and the economy.
Well, certainly very important issues to be considered before voting day in Germany. Wada Imran, thank you for joining us from Berlin. And as elections come closer, how is the economy faring
for this year and the next? Previously, Economy Minister Robert Habeck had said 2025 would bring about 1.1% growth for Europe's largest economy. However, that has also been revised to just 0.3% growth. These low forecasts do mean that the government will have more budget leeway, in the sense that they will be able to borrow more to help the economy prop back up. However, the BDI, which is the Federation of German Industries, has a more pessimistic tone and thinks the GDP will shrink by 0.1%. There are many uncertainties like potential high tariffs from the US, the outcome of this election, the budget for 2025, and where the government will spend and where it will save. For now, it seems 2025 will not be the year the economy picks back up.
Right, it doesn't sound great right now. Thanks for joining us, Wada, from Berlin.